afternoon, everyone. Hi, it's Michelle Cordero here, ASAS Massage Education down here in downtown Mesa. We're switching gears a little bit this week and having a different kind of guest speaker coming in. And I can't wait to get to talk to her a little bit more and get to know her a little bit more. It's our neighbors actually here in Mesa, right across the street from the Neighborhood Comedy Theater. I've been a couple of times with my family. We've had such a great time. So one of the directors, creative director Krissy Lenz, is going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about hilariousness without fear. And one of the reasons I thought this would be a great topic for the show, and just looking at some of the mission of the Neighborhood Comedy Theater, and I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm going to read it, is to entertain our community, create endless opportunities for laughter, and to cultivate creativity, collaboration, and hilariousness without fear of failure. And I just, as much as it might sound like there's not this huge connection to what we do here as massage therapy, I actually feel like there is a lot in there, in that we are growing a lot. We're bringing a lot to other people in the community by helping them through pain and feeling better. And also like learning to work with that, like that failure kind of feeling, and switching around to not be such a negative thing anymore. And we're going to chat a little bit about that, and hopefully have a couple, get some hilarity behind it, because I do love that word. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Krissy. We're going to say hi and welcome. Krissy.
Hi. Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm really super excited to be participating and hanging out with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So we've communicated a couple times in email, and I've seen in passing just because we've been to the theater a couple of times. But I'm really excited to be able to have a good conversation with you and get to find out all the great things that are coming down the line for the theater itself. And so I wanted to start off first by asking how I was reading some of your bios with you and Dorian for the Neighborhood Comedy Theater, which I believe, did you guys change the name? Was it changed recently? Was it National Comedy Theater?
Yes, we were.
Okay.
We were National Comedy Theater. We were sort of shared a name with our sister theater in San Diego, which is where Dorian and I lived and performed for many years. And Dorian was the creative director there for many years. And we just felt like, after 10 years of sharing a name and being National Comedy Theater, it didn't fit right anymore. And it just didn't have the vibe of what we really feel like we were developing, which was the neighborhood feel, the spirit of community and of like really being connected to our little community in that way.
Right.
So while we don't share a name with a National Comedy Theater anymore, we feel like we still have the sisterhood with that theater, but kind of our own little umbrella now as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the idea of the neighborhood. That's such a perfect name for it, because I know just being here in downtown Mesa, it really feels that way. And I know kind of off topic, but we have all these breweries coming in, and we already have a handful of breweries. And you would think like, oh no, they're probably worried about, the competition, but I'm seeing them collaborate with each other and like, welcoming into the neighborhood and all that. And it's so great to hear all the business owners doing that and getting to know everybody and trying to support each other's businesses as well. So I love the feel for this neighborhood. And I think I would hope a lot of other places could follow suit and find that collaboration. One of our favorite phrases here is collaboration, not competition. And so I really love that idea here, but I digress. And I want to find out more about you. So how did you get into improv? And I know we mentioned Dorian, but we didn't mention you guys are married husband and wife team, right?
We are, yes.
So, yeah. So I know you met, so I'll let you tell the story of first how you got in, and then kind of how you got to decide like you were going to open the theater.
Yeah, it's a fun story, and it's Dorian and I have very similar sort of paths that we took, where we each started improvising and learning improv and the art of improv comedy when we were really young teenagers. So for me, that was at a place called the Star Theater, which was in downtown Scottsdale, and for years and years, my best friends and I, we took the teen class. And we were at all the teen classes and we did the teen showcases, and they just couldn't get rid of us. So eventually they invited,
Go home.
they were like, well, okay, so since you're never ever leaving, you get to be part of the adult team now. So we were part of the performing team at the Star Theater from when we were about junior high all the way through the end of high school, which was a really cool experience. It was really wonderful to learn all of the like awesome lessons of improv itself, but also to have the influence and experiences of having adult friends who were part of that community. And so when I was about 18, like just about ready to graduate from high school, Dorian came to see a show at the Star Theater that I was performing in, and that is where we met. And I learned that he was also an improviser who had been learning through the Mesa Arts Center, which is now right next door to us, and performing at a really cute coffee place called Coffee Talk, which is also right next door to us. It's now called the Bungalow. And we just definitely hit it off, you know, having the mutual interest of improvisation and all that comes with that. We moved to San Diego shortly after we got married and performed at the National Comedy Theater there. And then, you know, in about 2006, we decided that we kind of wanted to come back to our hometown. We're both Arizona natives. We wanted to, you know, have a family and a home and a theater of our own in kind of the place where it all started for us.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. And why Mesa? Is it more like because of the connection like Dorian had with the Mesa Arts Theater, or?
That's a great question. It sort of has always just worked out for us to be in Mesa in like the most interesting of ways. So our first theater space that we were in from 2007 all the way until 2019, so more than 10 years, was a place where we used to perform when it was called Undici Undici. It was a little coffee shop, so we used to perform there. And then, you know, 10 years later, we're looking for a space, and here it is, this place where we have already performed, and it had a great energy. So we were there for the longest time. And then when it was time for something new, and this space opened up here, it felt right. It had that feeling of neighborhood. It had that feeling of home. Being near the Mesa Arts Center, being near Coffee Talk and sort of our roots. And also just immediately we could feel that exact thing that you talked about, which is that this is a place that has that wonderful welcoming energy that it just helps us thrive so much, because that's the energy we need.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been just booming in the last couple of years of everything, all the more energy coming again.
Yes.
So why improv and not like maybe more of like Broadway theater, or, you know, or acting, or I don't know, any other thing? What led you to improv more specifically?
I love acting. I love Broadway. I love every form of comedy. And, you know, of course, many of us who have one artistic path love to dabble in many, many others. And of course I do. Improv for me has always been something that is so lively and energetic, and has a evolving sense of community. I use the word community over and over and over, but it's a collaborative, you know, so you have a team, you have a scene partner, and so it's always changing, and the experience just evolves over time. So, you know, while I can imagine that perhaps oil painters would one day just be like, ugh, enough already with the oil paints. Improv is a new experience every time you sort of step onto the stage. And that's what I love about it. I also love the ability to take the core of it, like the sort of lessons of it, which we talked a little bit about, like learning how to embrace failure rather than exist in fear of it, learning how to listen and give to the people that you are working with and collaborating with, and learning to really trust yourself and your instincts and your gut, knowing that your heart is in the right place, and that there's no wrong answer. So that's kind of the thing that I love about improv. And then, of course, you know, all forms of comedy come with the ability to look at the world around you and sort of wink at the things that don't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. So if somebody is, I guess I have like kind of a part 2 question, but I'll go with this part first. So knowing that with improv, you have to, of course, you guys have workshops and there's lessons to learn and there's like tips and tricks of how to kind of roll with things, and some things, there's definitely lessons and things that people learn through your classes and such. But there is a lot of, you're going to have to make it up on the spot, right? That's the whole point of it. So do you find most people that come into the field, are they automatically like super extroverted, already making everyone laugh at parties? Or do you find people like trying to push their boundaries a little bit more and find this as a way to do that? What kind of people do you see coming to you guys?
That is a great question, Michelle. And it has sort of both answers, right? So we definitely do see a lot of the folks who are already the class clown, already the life of the party. Maybe they even are stand-up comedians or truly actors who want to sort of stretch their improvisational muscles. We definitely have that piece of the pie as a part of the puzzle, which is a pie. It's both things, a pie and a puzzle.
And puzzle pie sounds delicious.
But I am often surprised by the much larger piece of the puzzle pie is made up of folks who are shy, who come with a little bit of a fear of a public speaking or a stage experience. There are folks who just want to improve their personal interactions, perhaps in a professional capacity, or just in an interpersonal way. Most of the people who end up eventually becoming lifelong improviser performers start out convinced that they never want to do a show. They just want to learn. They just want to do classes. They want to do the intimate experience of a small group. They never want to be on stage. And then once we move through that initial reluctance or fear, they become lifelong performers. Now, I wouldn't say they become extroverts because that's not true.
Right.
They simply become introvert improvisers.
So
I definitely recommend it as an art form, and even for people who have no interest at all in performing, the benefits of learning the lessons of improv will help you in the boardroom, help you in the classroom, help you with your family, with your teenagers, with talking to people who you maybe have a difficult time with. Like the applications of it are for everything. You just, if you do want to perform, you can.
That's a nice bonus. I love that. It's interesting you say, because I know I've read a few, or actually listened to, I like to do the autobiographies on a tape. Listen to me, I'm all old. The digital autobiographies. I love like Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, a bunch of people who have started in improv, and other comedians. And the one reoccurring thing I feel like I see, not only are they funny and things, but they actually were very shy or self-doubting, and kind of looking for validation sometimes. And I always found that really interesting, that outwardly everyone thinks, you're definitely life of the party, but inside, like, no, I'd rather be in my jammies at home, but I also really like to be funny too. So I love that there's a wide variety of people coming and doing that. And I love that you can just do it. I'm almost thinking like Toastmasters or something like that, where you learn how to be doing speeches. This sounds a lot more fun. That's doing the speeches, I can imagine. So what's an example of like a lesson, like a typical a class that you think are where you're teaching someone some of those techniques, like you're saying, to have conversations with coworkers and family members and things like that? What are some of those topics?
Well, off the top of my head, the thing that most people are familiar with in the world of improv is the concept of the yes and, which it's a phrase that you see and hear a lot, and it is like the cornerstone. It is the forever building block. It is the beating heart of kind of what we teach. The positive agreement of yes and. And so that's one of the first concepts that we teach to any age, whether it's 70-year-olds or 7-year-olds. It's the concept of really listening to what your partner has to say, agreeing to it, affirming it, and validating it, and then not stopping there, but adding your piece to it as well, that helps our conversation move, grow, evolve. So it really is something that the two of us are creating together, that I couldn't write by myself, that you couldn't write by yourself. And it's kind of the two pieces of the puzzle is that by giving the validation and the affirmation to your partner that you are listening to them, and that you agree. You agree to what they say. But it's not just that. You also put yourself out there and make yourself vulnerable by putting a little bit of information on the table as well. But with the trust of knowing that they have to say yes. They have to say yes. And that's a great way to sort of grow that trust for yourself, for your own ideas, that the other person isn't going to say, no, you're stupid, which is the most fear that people have, is that someone's going to say, no, you're stupid. And then also that you just have to add one little idea. You don't have to add a textbook of proved accredited knowledge. You just have to add one idea, and then we build from there.
I love that. It was kind of like those exercises where everyone adds a sentence to the story. Once upon a time, there was a, princess in the castle, and then on and on and on, right? And just building off each other. So there's that collaboration and that teamwork again. And I love the idea to bring into our life lessons as well, that we're so ready to tell everyone our opinion and shoot things down that's not in agreement with us. But what's the harm in agreeing and then getting that person on your side to then work together to get to the next step? I think that's really, really, really great. And to be able to put yourself out there, that's a tough lesson, I think, to learn, which is where you're getting that circle of trust, I'm sure, in small classes and where you're working with each other. And I think we try to do that here too, just in massage therapy. It's a very intimate environment. And I use the word intimate. I tell the students, I know a lot of times people think intimate equals sexual, but it's not the same thing. Intimate means of giving of yourself and being open and being willing to expose some of yourself and allowing the other person to accept that and do something with it and keep you safe. So we have that here. People are on the tables and they're working with each other and working through things and stuff. And we have some hilariousness too that happens. I've had some oopsie moments and things like that. I could tell you a few stories. But that also with that we're trusting with each other and building that and growing to be able to allow that partnership to happen. So I love that that's happening too. with them. I love the yes and thing because we were talking about the episode of The Office. You're probably familiar with it, where Michael is doing the improv and he just wants to hold everybody at gunpoint, and every single partner it goes along with it, even though they're all frustrated with him that he keeps doing that and he doesn't move on from that whole situation. So they're learning how to work. Even though the boss drives them crazy, we're going to do that. So we're cackling about that. Do you have any favorites yourself of improv world, or people who have come up from improv, or I know like the Whose Line Is It Anyway show, or anything like that? What are some of your favorites?
Yes, absolutely. Love Whose Line Is It Anyway? Just God bless Whose Line Is It Anyway? Without that show, I would have never been able to explain what improv is to people. Like still to this day, without that show, we would not be able to explain what we do. And of course, those are the absolute best of the best, especially of short form improv, which is what Whose Line does.
Yeah.
Of course, you mentioned Tina Fey, who is such a great role model, not just for her improvisational beginnings, but for the way that she like continues to like support women in comedy and like create opportunities. Same thing for Amy Poehler. I love everything that she does, including like Making It with Nick Offerman, where they do crafts and things.
They're so great.
Oh, they're so great. And I'm also like, an amateur maker of things. So I find her so inspiring in all of those ways. I love Kristen Wiig. I love Kate McKinnon. There are so many. Adie Bryant, who is from Arizona, is, I think, one of the funniest people on Saturday Night Live right now. There are so many. Melissa Villaseñor. There are so many amazing female role models right now in comedy that it is just really exciting. Have you seen? There's a show coming out called Girls 5 Eva.
No, I don't know.
It's a Tina Fey produced show that has the one of the main stars is Paula Pell, who was a writer on Saturday Night Live for years and years. And she's a little bit older than the rest of the cast, which I think is like really, really cool. That there all those opportunities are out there for women of all ages now at this time. So there's a lot of great things to look at in comedy that are happening.
I love that. That's so great. And you mentioned short form improv. And so I didn't know about long form improv until I was scrolling through Netflix and I saw Middleditch and Schwartz there. And I'm sad there's only 3 episodes that I can only watch so many times. Do you feel a little bit more challenging to do the long form improv, or what, or have you tried it before, or what are some of your thoughts?
Yes, definitely. And both, every form has unique challenges and skill sets to develop. Our performance show is short form, which it's like people ask all the time, what's the difference between short form and long form? And it's like, well, short form is short and long form is long. So like that's the difference. It's longer. Yeah. So we do a 90-minute show that's made up of 12 5-minute games. Don't check my math on that. Whereas like a Middleditch and Schwartz, a long form performance is going to be anywhere from 10 to 20 to sometimes 90 minutes long, where there aren't, breaks to next play this game. It's one scene that's generated from one. And, when you talk about a Middleditch and Schwartz, that's a relationship that you build up across years and years and years of, knowing that person, knowing their energy. And, that's a very special kind of magic. And it's so beautiful and rewarding to see it in action and to be a part of an energy that. We do a long form show here at Neighborhood Comedy Theater called the Main Street Show, where we have guests from the community tell stories, and we create improvisation based on that.
Yeah.
But I would say too that, like, you know, the energy that it takes to create something where you don't necessarily have 10 minutes to develop characters and a storyline, but to still pack all of that into 3 minutes, it's just a different kind of challenge. And it's really, it's like the difference between writing a 5-minute sketch on Saturday Night Live and a 2-hour movie based on those characters. You need the same skills, but in different quantities for each. But yeah, Middleditch and Schwartz, it's so great that they have a show on Netflix, which is making it so much more accessible to people to be like, yeah, improv, I've heard of that.
Yes, exactly. So if anyone watching doesn't know, if you have Netflix, go check that out, Middleditch and Schwartz. So they basically interview someone in the audience, just pick a random person, ask them to tell them a story about something. One's like anybody going through something right now they're nervous about, and it's like, yeah, I'm applying for a job, and so they ask a couple questions about it, and then they roll for an hour and just make up a whole storyline. So, and that's there you go, folks. Long.
Sure.
We got it. There you go. We'll be here all night. Come and support us here. So super fun. Have you ever, and I know that's probably putting you on the spot, maybe you don't have an answer right at this minute, but, or think of a couple things, but any real big highlights of like, that was like the funniest night of my life. This was the best performance we ever did. I was hilarious. I can't believe it. I'm so good. Any of those moments where you wanted to share a little bit of like what the context was or what what made it that way?
Absolutely, yes. There have been so many over the years. Of course, they all tend to, your favorites all tend to achieve that sort of legend status where you're like, and we were all 7 feet tall. I don't know how that happened, but we have been very fortunate over the years to develop a relationship with Kevin McDonald, who is one of the kids in the hall, who are a sketch comedy, a Canadian sketch comedy team, who were, when I was, young and learning comedy, some of my heroes. And so he has taught several workshops here with us, where the goal was to take improv and turn it into sketch, or to write sketches and have them be stronger. We did one workshop with him where it was to take a sketch in a day and have it be a finished performed sketch at the end of the weekend. And every time that we have gotten to perform improv with him as a part of those shows has been really magical. And I definitely remember one show that we did where we all performed improv together and then performed sketches together, and just the whole show was so wild and unpredictable and fun, and it was so great to get to work with one of my childhood comedy heroes, and create comedy. And then so afterwards he sort of leaned over and he was like, "You and your husband are funny." And I was like,
Stop it. That is so awesome. So you and your husband are funny. Would your kids say so as well?
Well, my daughter is 15, and she has specifically said that having improvisers for parents is exhausting. So that's her take on it. Right. I think Rocket is 10. He thinks we're funny. Yeah. He is not yet exhausted by our shenanigans.
Yeah. You gotta think that's kind of the 15-year-old mantra, right? They're going to be exhausted by anything that we do. So, yeah. But I can imagine people may approach you or that know you and say, "You guys, your house must be hilarious all the time." I'm assuming you're regular people and you guys have your moments that you need to be people. But do you think on the average, you probably have a little bit more fun than other people?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And we are exhausting. That is a
Yeah.
100% accurate. We're, constantly doing bits, right? So it's always like,
Yeah.
oh my God, stop. It's not a bit. Stop doing your
Yeah.
bit. And I'm like, no,
What are you
we
talking
don't
about?
know.
Oh, I love
We don't know how.
it. Oh, she'll come back around again when she comes full circle out of that teenage thing, hopefully. But she secretly loves it. I've never met her, but I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
I will speak for her and all
Yes.
the teenagers of the world. So on the flip side of there's major things that were real highs. We're talking about working through failures and using them as learning lessons and things like that. Anything jump out at you for that, or any ones where you felt it was kind of going and somehow went back up again because of something that someone else said to kind of lift it up again, or how in general do you work through those moments that are kind of like I don't know if I'm doing this right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question, and there are so many different possible areas to go into, whether it's in a teaching environment where you can tell that the people that you are trying to connect with to teach them and have them learn, or there's just not a connection happening, or the level of interest isn't what you hope it would be. We've had experiences where we were booked to perform for private companies and things where you could tell that the participants weren't aware that comedy was going to be part of the
Oh.
situation. And then here we are like, hey,
Yeah.
what's a profession you wish you had?
Yeah.
I remember one time in particular, we were hired to do a show for a community center. And when we got to the show and we started performing, we just like had this really like odd feeling of like not quite hostility, but almost like, oh, like there's sort of an unwelcomeness, like people aren't wanting to respond and shout in the way that we usually are used to. And we continued with the show, and what we generally do in that situation is to say to ourselves, hey, if you're having a good time, they will have a good time. If we're entertaining each other and delighting each other and sharing in an energy, that translates. If the converse is if we're having a problem, that also translates. But so we carried on with the show. We did our show, and at the end, the coordinator was like, "Oh my God, that was so amazing! Like, thank you so much." It's just so complimentary that we were like,
Yeah.
something's not
Right.
something's not quite just adding up or whatever. And what we learned was that the group we were performing for had just been through, they were divorced couples who were going through arbitration and learning to communicate better with each other. And so we were the like graduation entertainment.
Oh my gosh. A for effort, folks who hired you, but yeah.
And so now that's the legendary story though of like, here's what you do. Like, you can't assume that if somebody it just isn't responding the way that you want them to, that the problem is you, that it's directed at you. More than likely is something that you're not party to or aware of. So all you can do is the best that you can do. And we always like to say, if you're not having fun, then you're the problem. Right?
Yeah.
So as long as we can each bring the best of ourselves to the table and have a good time enjoying what we're doing, then it sort of tends to seep into the air that we're having a good time and bringing that positivity. If we're not bringing that positivity, then we're doomed.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking for you guys for it. So I, in between what you're saying, I'm hearing that you can probably handle adversity a little bit more in all kinds of parts of your life based on just how your outlook of your performance. Do you, and I don't always like to talk about COVID, but I know just watching you guys navigate the last year and a half ish, it seems, I know probably on the inside, not always, we don't know what's going on, but on the outside, seeming like you were moving ahead and figuring out ways to make things work and still bringing what you could. And so I imagine that other things work that way too. And I like the idea of bringing up not only if somebody's not connecting to you, but it's also like you can't control what other people say back to you or the way they feel or the way they think. You can only control you. And I feel like that's what I'm hearing a lot of what you're saying. Would you think that you kind of handle those adverse things a little bit better because of all what you've learned?
Definitely. You know, of course, as you said, which isn't to say we've got a 100% success rate by any means, but yeah, you know, I think our approach to life and to comedy is just to sort of say to ourselves, okay, what now? You know, what next? How do we yes and this situation and try and turn it into something that does work for us?
Right.
And, you know, throughout this past year, of course, we've been looking and saying, well, you know, we can't necessarily have the best of everything, and we can't necessarily even have the best of what we are used to, but we can still make the best of it and stay connected to each other and to our community and to our audience in you know, it's such a jumble of words, but like maybe not in the best way possible, but in the best way possible.
Right.
You know, best way that is possible.
Yeah.
And not the best way that was possible.
Yeah, I like that. Always moving forward and like, okay, we're here. Like we can't change that we're here, right? So where do we go and what do we do? And you know, I telling students that when they have people are like, oh, they didn't really like that massage too much, or you know, they didn't want to book with me again. It's like, well, you have these other people who keep booking with you, and you know, of course, we're working on skills, and if there's something that we need to work on a little bit more, we're going to do that. But we're not going to please everyone. That's 100% it. That's why there's all these massage therapists and all these clients, and we're going to figure out who's going to go with whom. But yeah, you can't beat yourself up for things that it's already happened. And you need to figure out, okay, now what? And then we can move forward. So great life lessons for every profession, right? I bet, in every situation as well. So, and I think it really showed too, you guys had the, was it Christmas Eve? I think it was, with your props and such. Kind of did a little walking away business. I know here I am. Why don't I bring some other things that sad in your life up while we're at it? But why I brought it up, because the turnaround and the amount of support that you guys got immediately to replace the items and to figure out how to move on from here. I was like, so great. Here I am at a little thing, because it was, again, the community, and to show that what you're bringing to the community, there are people that have connected to you. And I was blown away when I read it before. It was the same thing again. I read it when it all happened. I was like, you know, I'm like, how can I help? And I'm like, they don't need any help. They've got plenty. So they're off my back. I send you good thoughts. That's enough. So it really goes to show that you've been really amazing in the community, and we're happy you're our neighbors. And I can't wait to get back into your theater, which I would love to segue back into that. So for those who don't know, the Neighborhood Comedy Theater had been using the parking lot next door to us and doing some outside shows, which was really fun and really creative. And we really enjoyed going to the show we went to, of course. But you're heading back into your home, right? You're opening up. You're going to have shows back in person again. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we are so excited to be back in our space. We are currently doing shows on Saturday nights. There are two possibilities to come and see us. One is at the 7:30 show, which is an all ages show, great for all audiences. And we're at about half capacity for that. So we are seating people in distance and at limited capacity for that. Tickets are available now. We also have, for a very limited time, what we're calling our NCT Blockout Party, which is the 9:45 show. You can buy the whole show just for yourself and your friends and family. So if you are excited to go out and you want to see your friends and family and have a great time and laugh, but you're not quite ready to be fully open to the public, that 9:45 spot is the perfect opportunity to have a show and have your friends and family, but be the only folks there. So come hang out with an audience at 7:30, totally socially distant, no contact experience if you choose, or 9:45, you can book the whole thing for your friends and family.
Oh, I love that. That's so awesome. We'll be for the all ages, of course, because my son would not let me hear the end of it if I didn't take him to the next time we go. So he really, really loves a couple things. He's a little slow on the uptake, especially if there's any reference to something that came out before, the year 2000 or something. He's kind of
yes, of course.
And we have to kind of explain things. But in general, he's laughing right alongside. He's yelling out suggestions. He really, really has a good time there. So we'll be joining that. And I put the ticket to get tickets website there on the screen for anyone interested, and you can find out a little bit more about what they're doing. And then you also have some classes as well coming up.
We do. We currently have teen classes for age group 12 and up. We have in-person classes every Monday at 4 p.m. and we have online classes at 2 p.m. So whether you want to do online or in person, we have the perfect option. It's totally affordable. It's only $20 a class, and it's really a great age to start learning not only the comedy and performance skills, but also the life skills, the listening skills, the self-confidence.
I love that. Is it like a set session, or like you have to starting June 1st till whenever, or is it
ongoing? Yep, it's ongoing. You can take sign up and take as many as you like, or try it out and just come 1 or 2 Mondays a month. We are always offering those classes. They're always open to join anytime. And adult classes will be coming soon.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to keep our eyes out for that one. Do you guys have if we go to the website, is there, do you have a newsletter or anything like that to keep updated on it?
Yes, we absolutely do. Newsletter. And then of course, everything goes to social media first. Right. So the Facebook, the Instagram always knows everything before anybody else does.
Yes. Yeah. So you have to check out, I highly recommend going to their website and checking out the About the Cast, because that joke with Dave, is it David's picture?
It's David, yes.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna say anymore. Please go to the website and check out About the Cast, because I giggled the entire time. I was like, even though it's the same joke, I couldn't stop.
Thank you. Yes. Like, anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Yes, exactly. And I'm curious if that was because other people didn't submit their photo or sit for their photos. Yeah. So we have a thing here. We actually have a student board here at school where we put their picture up and their hobbies, and so they can get to kind of know each other through that. And some students are reluctant to send us the pictures, so I'm like, all right, it's your choice. We can take a picture of you going like, and make up hobbies, or you could send us a picture that you would like. So they don't, they call our bluff, and the next day there's a picture of them half eating their sandwich or whatever it is. That'll serve you right. So we love our pictures in here. That is so awesome. So definitely go check it out at the website, sign on the mailing list, make sure that you are finding out when everything is going on. Saturdays, looking for something fun. Come on to downtown Mesa, everybody, because we have So many things going on, so many new restaurants. You guys are nicely situated on your side of the street there
Oh,
between
yes.
Worth Takeaway and now Gus's Fried Chicken and Oro Brewery. You have to walk anywhere. You're in a good place. So really, really exciting there. So is there anything else you want to share about what's going on down in the theater, or any other lessons that you wanted to, a last inspiring quote? Now you're on the spot here. This is going to leave us with the most inspiring quotes.
Just that we're very excited. We are taking things slowly and just trying to go, sort of grow as we go, and not take anything for granted as we move forward. Good things are happening all around us. You're gonna have some new neighbors soon over by you guys.
I'm so excited.
Everything is good and moving towards getting back to what we consider normal. So we have a very positive outlook on everything that is to come.
I love it. All right. On those words, we're going to put you in the hot seat. So I got our final questions for our stream. So here we go. So which talent or superpower would you most like to have?
Yeah. So that is such a good question. There are so many great powers. I think if I had to choose, my one caveat would be that I would want it to come with big arms. Like whatever my power is, I want it to be something that's activated when I go, do like big arms.
Yes.
So I'll take a Magneto power or a storm. I don't want it to be something where I'm just like,
no.
I want to have to do like big, dramatic.
Yeah, there's no denying that you've got it. Yeah.
Big arms, whatever the power is.
Big arms. We're gonna get someone to draw a caricature of you with it, like big muscly arms. If you weren't in the field that you're in now, so if you weren't doing improv, what else would you be doing to exhaust your teenage daughter?
Oof. I recently learned about a lady who is gaining popularity as a nap influencer.
How do we do that?
How do we do that? That's what we need to find out, is how do we become a nap influencer?
Oh my gosh.
So she has like social media and she posts like links to products and like, this candle is where I'm going to have for my nap today. And like this pillow and this music in the background.
Wow.
And she's a nap influencer. And I'm like, you figured it out.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. That's almost like on par with the person who created the pet rock back in like the 80s or whenever it was, or 70s or somewhere like that. Like, what? But all right, good for you. Capitalism. Yay.
Yeah.
If money and circumstances, they weren't issues, where would you like to live most in the world?
I love San Diego. San Diego's my favorite city that I've ever lived in. But what I would love, if money's no object, I would want to live in both places. So I would want to live, like, have a place in San Diego and a place here, and maybe a place on the East Coast. So you can just go to, I would want to live everywhere basically, and just be able to go back and forth between several different houses.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I know. That's what I think. I'm like a beach house, forest house, like,
yeah, exactly. Be like the ultimate snowbird, right? So you're a snowbird and a sunbird and a beach bird, and you're just like
exactly. I love it. Yeah, got to have all of them in there. This one always gets everyone a little tripped up, so I'm interested in your answer. What is your most treasured possession?
So I do have an answer to this one. My most treasured possession is actually this necklace. I don't know if you can. I'll put it right up there. It's a penny. But it's made of gold. So on our wedding day in the year 2000, Dorian had yes, thank you. Had a real penny put on a chain as his gift to me on that day, and of course, because it was real penny, it turned really gross and would make my neck green and a little arc.
Oh my gosh.
So for our 4th anniversary, he had one made out of gold, which is illegal. Don't tell anyone.
So all of you watching and the internet and all that.
Please don't tell the Denver Mint.
Yes.
And so he and I don't wear rings, like wedding rings, which often leads to misunderstandings that we are perhaps brother and sister. It's not true.
Gosh.
We are married. But instead of rings, we have both matching tattoos, and this, my gold penny, which is the thing that I wear every day as my symbol of even the smallest things that seem worthless can be very, very lucky.
Wow, I love that. My goodness, you have such a positive outlook on all these things. I love it. And then your last, I know your 18-year-old self was having a lot of fun, but what would you like to tell your 18-year-old self if you could go back?
Chill out.
Oh,
Just chill out.
yeah.
Not just calm down. I've been accused not only by my teenager of having zero chill, and it's very true. Very true. There's no chill. But definitely it's going to be okay.
Right. You come out the other side just fine. Yeah, exactly.
Just, relax more and just trust that things are going to be okay.
Yeah, I love that. That's so awesome. Well, thank you, Krissy, and say give our good regards to Dorian as well. I've talked to him a few times too, out and about, and we love having you guys as neighbors. And we're going to see you soon in person. Everyone else, I hope make it down to Mesa or your local comedy theater if you're watching from afar, and support these cast members who are working hard to bring laughter and smiles to your faces and making you see positivity in everything that's going on. So I can't thank you enough for being part of this stream and doing a yes and. I didn't get one saying why would I be on a massage school stream? You were just totally cool about it, and I really appreciate that. And I hope
you bring smiles to the world as well. So you're putting positivity out there every day too.
We're going to take over the world and make everyone happy between comedy and massage. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll collaborate. We'll do a little jokey massage session or something. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
All about it. Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching today and watching the recap. And remember, every Friday, 1:00 Arizona time, you can find us here doing some fun live streams and broadcasting out some cool stuff to everyone. So we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.